Alright, let's make our way to the yard of the whirling in rags. I think it's time we do the autopsy. At least I think so. We should have enough time between now and the time we talk to the smoker on the balcony. I think that should work out. Then we can do that, and the time we have today isn't really limited, so we can see what else we can pull off in the meantime. We also should talk to Kuna about the armor, because he might actually know something about that. And I guess we'll see where else this all takes us. Let's see what the corpse
The
is
corpse
doing.
lies on the ground among the remains of an absolutely demolished pinewood branch. It's gently laid on one side.
Beautiful, wipe a tear from your eye. Well, it's down, celebrate in a more reserved manner. Great job, wise race mentor. We're gonna have to, sadly.
Mr. Measurehead has done a good job. Nothing is too broken or compromised. The victim is ready for a field autopsy.
Field autopsy.
Yes. 1. Investigation of the scene. 2. Initial examination of the victim. 3. Field autopsy. 4. Transportation of the body to the morgue. We are on number 3.
Okay.
What are they on about?
Cop's gonna cut his shit up.
Don't we have someone else for this? A doctor? Don't we have someone else to cut his shit open? Got it. Don't we have someone else to cut his shit open?
It's not about cutting. And no, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain, from autopsy to cleanup to social work.
Wait, honorary rank of detective? Yes, I feel like a detective. I don't think I'm a detective. Let's ask first.
An honor and a burden attached to your rank once you've proven yourself able, usually after 5 to 8 years of field work. Mine is lieutenant detective.
I don't think I'm a detective.
You are. Your station would not have assigned you on this case if you weren't. Now,
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
First, what exactly is a field autopsy?
come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
Clap your gloved hands. Let's get in there. Yeah, let's get back to this later. Let's get in there.
There truly is a time for everything, even for yellow gardening gloves. However, they are lacking hygienically. I suggest you get in there in limited capacity.
Alright, I don't know, what do you mean? What do you mean?
I mean when I need you to. Until then, I should handle physical contact, and you should take notes.
We just fill this in, right? Show him the red field autopsy form in your ledger.
That's right.
He nods.
You knew it because you inspected your ledger. The lieutenant is relieved you know the protocol.
Oh no, did that? No, we're still at -7. Good. Open the ledger at the field autopsy form. Tell me something, dead man. Try to remove the dead man's boots. You know what?
I thought we decided to leave it to processing. Let's not turn this into some kind of circus.
Damn it. This is turning into some sort of mega puzzle.
Okay, let's open our ledger at the field autopsy form.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with
Begin. 1. Assistant. Let's jump ahead to the 3-part summary. Let's pause this autopsy. Let's jump ahead.
No. Let's fill out the info form first.
Okay, first, assistant.
That's you.
Write Harry Dubois. Write The Gloaming. Write Raphael Ambrosius Cousteau. Or leave it empty. Raphael
the
Ambrosius
corpse
Cousteau.
is indifferent to your scribblings, just lies there. The next box says,
Second, coroner's case number.
KK57-0803.0815.
Okay, let's write it down.
Next,
The name.
NA. Next,
Date of birth.
NA.
Age.
Roughly 50.
Okay, about 50.
the corpse looks ageless, like meat on a hook.
Race.
Mondial.
Let's write it down.
The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Honestly, kind of surprising that going down the measurehead route didn't give us anything to comment on that. But I guess because we really cannot tell. So that makes sense. Sex?
Fucky fucky!
The little monster exclaims energetically.
Male.
Pigs can have sex?
Let's write down pig's gonna have sex.
Naively, the lieutenant does not double-check your notes.
Big mistake.
El bigo mistako, Lieutenant!
Like I said, just in a different way. Date of death.
We're still going with March 4th, 51.
Okay. 040351.
What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
KK 57 0503 0815 listens motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
Evidence of treatment.
None. At least not after the initial examination.
What exactly is treatment anyways? Agreed, no treatment. I'm not so sure. What exactly is treatment anyways?
Interfering with the body's position or wounds post-mortem.
Don't overdo it. It's okay to be unsure.
Agreed, no treatment. Okay, so here's the thing about this. There is something that is easily missed. I know that because I missed it in my first playthrough. On the one hand, I would like to find that in this one. On the other hand, that would be a very good cop thing to do. So I might just go down the same route as last time, and again, maybe I'll play this again in like a year or something, being like completely goody two-shoes, and maybe then I'll catch it, but I think honestly I should probably just miss that again. I'm not gonna tell you quite yet what it is, but most of you will probably know already, let's be real. I think I might just miss that again. Agreed, no treatment.
A silent nod. The lieutenant places his gloved hand on the corpse's chest, as if in preparation. Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then, somewhere in Jamrock North, a small wood shed behind Rosencrantz Row, Lieutenant Nick Feuerbach puts his hand to the chest of a small corpse, no larger than a monkey. It's raining outside, light drizzle. There is darkness in the shed. Elsewhere yet, an obese female sits in a wicker chair, her silhouette bull-like against the window. Outside, Grand Coudon. The day is turning dim for Sergeant Mac Dawson. Hand extended, he approaches, to make sure she is dead more than anything else. The building is tall, 7 stories wind-wrapped in solitude. Most of the apartments are unoccupied. This was a suicide, the other an accident, the small one. And so, all across Jamrock, Coal City, GRIH, 42 deceased persons found today, 42 stations of breath.
We should start the post-mortem.
And that's why Esprit de Corps and Shivers are really nice to have. It's just fantastic stuff there. Okay, let's turn the page.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
Let's try it again. Sure, why not?
I thought we decided to leave it to processing.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
not turn this into some kind of circus.
Damn it, this is turning into some sort of mega puzzle.
Alright, external examination summary, internal examination summary, descriptions of injuries summary, tell me something dead man. Is there any more dialogue?
Shoot, Looney Rooney.
There is not, okay,
Come
that
back
is
later,
all done.
Corporal.
Let's just try.
Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dream.
Let's try to skip to the end.
I'm afraid we can't continue before we've gone through both the external and internal examination first, thoroughly.
Okay, in external examination summary.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodin, I think. Let's see.
He turns the body onto its side to check the underwear label.
See, it's happening.
Babrodin, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
Let's write it
The
down.
boots are ceramic, vitreous enamel. They are fused to his skin from blood flowing downward post-mortem. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
It would be clever of you to omit the boots altogether, sire. If you are to keep them for yourself, as you ought to, you have deserved them more than anyone else.
When am I going to get them?
Patience. After the autopsy, before the body is taken away, there will be a window of opportunity. After the lieutenant has gone to sleep. I hope this has helped you, my liege.
Okay, let's omit the boots.
Tattoos.
He stands up, feet planted on either side of the body.
The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo, resembling a national pattern. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a Trigat Mini.
Write it down.
The deceased has a cargo lashing belt around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end.
Write it down.
Well nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age, about 50. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature, below freezing.
Write it down.
Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
Let's touch the corpse's hair before moving on.
The hair under your latex fingers feels cold to touch, wet.
Let's stroke the hair.
The stench is suffocating. Strands of dark brown hair start sticking to the latex of the glove, like thread off a rag doll's head. There must be brilliantine in there. He's combed his hair back with oil.
Let's keep petting him.
More hair sticks to the glove. Hair off the rain-soaked head of a dead man. There are bumps and dips on the skull below. An alien landscape. There, dead man. You were someone's child. It's all over now.
There, baby.
The lieutenant watches you in silence.
I could write down the brilliantine, but I'm not gonna because I'm not a good cop.
That was some sick shit, Sekopa.
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs, consistent with stones thrown. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest, consistent with predation.
We could write it down or we could amend for high velocity, and I'm gonna do that because we're friends with Kuno.
Ligature mark.
The lieutenant produces a small folding knife. With one other hand pulling on the belt, he starts cutting into the polyester. The stench is horrid. After a while, it's obvious the material cannot be cut.
The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
Oh yeah, I'm prepared. Pet the chain cutters. Good thing we got these chain cutters. Pull out the rubber grip cutters. I'm gonna go with the first one.
The hanged man lets out a joyous little bubble of rot from his nose.
And now let's pull them out.
Always good to think ahead. Now,
He points to the rope squeezing the dead man's neck.
we need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
Okay.
See, my pig is gonna fuck his head off.
Well, maybe we can try doing that.
No,
yeah.
he ain't. Your pig's a
Oh,
boring
well.
fuck.
Yes, I'm Kuno's pig, I agree. I'm not your pig, Kuno. Look for a good spot to cut. Okay, failing that is unlikely with our physical instrument. That's fine. Yes, I'm Kuno's pig, I agree.
You are? This pig is Kuno's.
Being Kuno's pig has a steadying effect on your hand. Go with the flow, man.
Let's look for a good spot to cut as well. I mean, if we're gonna go for overkill,
The
why
belt
not?
is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the east. The knot is the weak spot. The chain cutters fit in there, steady now, like a flower arranger. 2 cuts and it should come loose.
Well, let's give it a shot.
After some deliberation, you sink the cutters into the knot tying the belt together. You squeeze the rubber handles together, sweat forming on your brow.
Let's press down.
Snap. The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck.
The lieutenant has kneeled closer, running his fingers along the dark red groove until there's a gap.
As it ought to. This is where its grip on the curdled meat is gentlest, pulling up.
Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters.
Write it down.
Chest is intact, normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia.
He pulls down the man's underpants.
No! It's gonna happen, see?
I fucking knew it!
This is clearly what they've been waiting for, ever since the autopsy began. The lieutenant is trying to make it as boring as possible.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
Well, we gotta see for ourselves,
The
right?
dead man's penis is average-sized, congested from the downward collection of blood. The testicles are uneven in length, hanging underneath. The genitalia is greenish. Marbling is present around the crotch. You should touch it.
Electrochemistry. God damn it.
Doesn't feel like anything. A cold spot under your gardening gloves. Unremarkable and unalive.
My pig's so fucking ill right now.
His voice swells with pride.
Oh, your pig's pretty sick, I gotta say.
This wasn't necessary. What's going on here? Why are you doing that?
I'm detecting police work. Doesn't have to be solicited. It's an experiment to see what happens. Either is fine, really. Let's go with the first one.
The lieutenant is unaware of what's happening in your head and why you're touching it. He merely expects you to write down his notes on the man's genitalia so you can move on.
Well, let's write it down and move on.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are all combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip.
Bullets have bitten little pieces out of him. It must have been excruciating, especially the hip. Before you is a temple of pain that knew little tenderness in life.
In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
This is the body of a soldier, a mercenary.
We have a real museum here. Of battles, wars.
Write it down.
Last item, hands.
He takes the man's right hand in his, inspects it, then moves on to the other hand. We could pick it up or let him work alone. That's... I'm curious, what happens if we pick it up?
His flesh is cold, icy.
Pleased to meet you. Where are you from and what's your name?
My name is...
I'm only fucking with you. I know where you're from. From Cappadocia. And your name is Il Corbo. What can I do you for, Il Corbo di Cappadocia?
Pleasure's all mine. Tell me, are you a temple of pain and a stranger to tenderness? It's good to hold your hand. Did you like it when I stroked your hair? We've met before. I've touched your genitals. Nothing, I got nothing. Sure, why not?
That you have, Kobo, that you have. We're real tight that way. In that special way. We should do this more often. Be close like this, I mean.
Hands are clean. No sign of injury from struggling.
The lieutenant concludes, the dead man's fingers slip from your hand, cold and sausage-like. Okay, were we expecting any?
I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment.
Let's write it down.
Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next?
He turns to the side to breathe. It's not enough. He buries his face in the sleeve of his jacket. You hear a muffled voice. Okay, let's go for the internal examination.
Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
You don't even have a joke.
Damn it, conceptualization. You're too weak. Okay, nope.
Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable.
Write it down.
Respiratory system.
Back hunched as if in prayer, he begins to pry open the dead man's jaws. He stops to exert more force. Both hands are used.
Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen. Hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
Let's look inside.
No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. Sickly sweet air, unlike anything living. You feel like throwing up. Straight in that mouth. No, you don't. You can keep it in. You can keep anything in.
Let's look deeper inside.
You manage to suppress the contractions trying to enter your stomach. All it takes is concentration. Through it, you see nothing but darkness. More meat and darkness.
There are ancient mysteries down there, Kobo. Ask me later.
In my first playthrough, my Inland Empire was very weak. I did not get this. I was a bit unfortunate, but this time I'm going to not follow up on that.
Hemorrhaging present in mucus.
The lieutenant repeats impatiently. He lets go of the jaws. The mouth snaps shut before you. Okay, write it down.
Hepatobiliary. NA.
He wipes his brow. Why, don't we have anything?
Are you a hepatobiliary expert?
He looks at the corpse's stomach with a mixture of tiredness and disgust. I don't think so.
Neither am I.
And that's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Same for toxicology and serology.
Both?
Unless you have untapped reservoirs of knowledge there?
It's the completionist. The completionist. Is that? Did I? Completionist. Yeah. In me wonders if there's something we could still do. All right, NA. Let's write.
Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Hypostasis is visually consistent with the hanging.
Write it down.
Gastrointestinal.
He breathes a sigh of approaching relief. This is the last field on the list. He looks around to the ground, the pool of feces there.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila.
He touches the corpse's bloated lower abdomen briefly. Let's write it down and keep the voila.
What's next on the list?
Description of injuries now that we've fully examined the body.
Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 fields. Leave a 4th one too.
What's the 4th injury field for?
Nothing. Just in case.
Bite marks.
Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted.
Write it down.
And your opinion, officer?
Beneath the description there are 2 boxes waiting to be ticked. Let's be silly.
Fatal injury by seagulls?
This man was murdered by seagulls.
No, he was not murdered by seagulls.
Okay, it's not a fatal injury then.
Yes, it's...
I don't like this game.
For God's sake, leave the box unticked then. What next?
Between the stench of death and a never-ending corpse examination, he's under some stress there. Better not to poke.
Okay, fine. Contusions.
So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Goddamn right.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury. 2 boxes.
Sorry, Kim.
No, it's not.
Fucking fail as shit, Sailman!
Bitch saying your injuries weren't fatal, Kuno. You gonna let it stand?
I do what I want, see? Learn it.
I'll put it down as fatal.
Don't.
Okay, non-fatal post-mortem.
Right. Next,
Ligature mark.
a dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured, the cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Write it down.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible.
Okay, so... this is the big one. I'm... just gonna... I don't know if he carts him off immediately if we say fatal, or if we have to confirm with him that... Let's say fatal injury.
That's it. We have established cause of death.
Let's just say that.
It's not much, and it leaves much to be questioned. But it's a start. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over.
How did it go?
Well, we established probable cause of death. Some would say that's the goal of an autopsy.
What else?
We were thorough with the list of injuries, too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the circumstances, it was a professional field autopsy.
Oh yeah, well done, Master Detective. Maybe a drink is in order?
Perhaps a drink is in order? Later, I mean.
Now, you see, that worries me. You will die if you drink. You know that, don't you? You are proving a useful detective. The organization would miss you.
Well, now he's just lying to me.
Please get yourself together. The lieutenant from Precinct 57 thinks